Hello guys, welcome to H2O, the A to Z of chemistry. I'm Dr. Ritu Johar, your educator for this course on general organic chemistry, and I hope you are enjoying this course with me and understanding each and everything very well. So today we begin with lecture 3 from the GOC part 2. In part 1 we've had a detailed discussion on the nomenclature of organic compounds. So in case you have not watched those lectures and you do not understand how you're going to name the organic compounds, please watch those 17 lectures. We've had a detailed discussion on each and every concept and make your concepts stronger. Alright, now in this part 2 we have started the discussion on isomerism of organic compounds. We've had two lectures. In lecture 1 it was an introductory lecture, what is isomerism, what are the different types of isomerism, and in that one type is structural isomerism, which we've started the detailed discussion on. So we've discussed chain isomerism and position isomerism in lecture number 1. In lecture number 2 we discussed about functional isomerism, metamerism, and ring chain isomerism. So related to the structural isomerism, only one type of isomerism is left behind, and that is tautomerism, which we will be doing in the next lecture. So what are we going to do in this lecture? Well, we are going to see more of the problems related to structural isomerism, because this is going to be a very important concept and you should have a thorough understanding how you're going to draw various possible structures for a given molecular formula. And for that problem solving, I'm going to help you today actually. I'm going to teach you a concept which is known as double bond equivalent. This is going to be really helpful to you people in drawing the various isomers for a particular molecular formula, right? So I hope you are going to really enjoy this lecture, because the moment you see a molecular formula, you will be having an understanding with this double bond equivalent that what type of isomers can we draw for a particular formula. Alright, so let us see how we are going to do that. Very interesting and very important, obviously. So the double bond equivalent, this is also called as double bond equivalent. So that means one and the same thing. It is also called as degree of unsaturation, and it is also called as the index of hydrogen deficiency. So let us begin this lecture by just understanding these terms as the literal meaning, that you can just look at these terms and understand what you're going to learn this complete lecture. Alright, so double bond equivalence, when this suggests that there is going to be something that is going to be equivalent to a double bond that we are going to study in this lecture. Alright, now this double bond equivalence, I'm also calling this as degree of unsaturation. So let us understand what this means. So degree of unsaturation is going to relate it to unsaturation in a compound. Now what is an unsaturated compound? Well, we have two types of compounds, saturated and unsaturated. This is what you started the study while we started the classification of organic compounds. So saturated compounds are those compounds where they're going to be all single bonds present in the structure, right? For example, you have ethane over here that I'm drawing. So you can see between the carbons, between carbon and hydrogen, you have all single bonds. So this is a saturated compound. Okay, I'm just writing a sat for it. Next we have a ethene. So this is a carbon-carbon double bond, and then two hydrogens single bonds and the two hydrogen single bonds. So this is ethene, but in this you can see that along with single bonds there is a double bond present. So this we call as a unsaturated compound. And similarly, if I draw a ethyne, that is C2H2, so I will be drawing a carbon-carbon triple bond, and here this is going to be one hydrogen and this is going to be one hydrogen. So this is also an unsaturated compound where we do not see all single bonds present, right? So this is an unsaturated compound. So what this now means is that if I am relating the double bond equivalence to the degree of unsaturation, well, what I will be getting is that this double bond equivalent is going to be some value, all right, and that some value we are going to relate it to the degree of unsaturation. More is going to be the value of this double bond equivalence. I will be calling in short as DBE. All right. So more is going to be the value of DBE. More is going to be the degree of unsaturation. This means in my molecular structure, there are going to be more double bonds, triple bonds that will be present. This much is clear. Alright. The next term is that this we also called as index of hydrogen deficiency. So this is C2H6, right? When we move on from C2H6, what have we done is that we have made, instead of a single bond between the two carbons, we have made a double bond. And when we made a double bond, we removed two hydrogens, right? So this was C2H6, this is C2H4. There has been a reduction in the number of hydrogens, right? So if the bond equivalent value, this increases, the degree of unsaturation, this increases, the number of hydrogen atoms that are decreasing, that is also increasing, right? So this is a increase in hydrogen deficiency from 6 to 4 to 2, right? So this was a single bond, this is a single bond plus a pi bond, and this is a single bond plus two pi bonds. So as we are increasing the degree of unsaturation, as we are increasing the number of pi bonds in the structure, the number of hydrogen atoms, this is decreasing, or you can say the hydrogen deficiency, this is increasing, right? So this is what we have as the meaning of the term. Now the question is, what is now this value of double bond equivalence? This is what we are going to find out, and this is going to give us a suggestion how much unsaturated the compound is, how many hydrogens they can be less in this structure. All right. So the double bond equivalence, we can find the number of pi bonds which are going to be present in the compound, and in most of the cases this is going to help us predict the exact structural formula for that compound. So this is going to be helpful for us finding out the structural isomers for a particular molecular formula. So if I have an organic compound with the molecular formula CaHbNcODXe, so these are the number of atoms of the various elements which can be present in an organic compound. So generally what we see is that there is a carbon present in the organic compound, a hydrogen, a nitrogen, a oxygen, or a halogen atom. Sometimes you will be seeing that there is a sulfur present or a phosphorus also present, but generally that is what you will not be seeing. Most of the compounds you will be seeing composed of these five elements, right? So we have put them as over here. So any number of these, they can be present in the molecular formula. So we are going to now give a formula for finding out the dBe value, and the formula is that the dBe value, this is going to be equal to C minus H by 2 minus X by 2 plus N by 2 plus 1. Alright, this is the number of atoms of carbon minus the number of hydrogen atoms in the formula divided by 2 minus the number of halogen atoms divided by 2 plus the number of nitrogen atoms divided by 2 plus 1. Oxygen is not going to be there in the formula. It is not going to affect the dBe value. Similarly, if a sulfur is going to be present, that will also not affect the dBe value. And if there is a phosphorus present, please do remember that will also be just treated like a nitrogen, right? So the nitrogen family similar, and the oxygen family similar, not going to affect. And if it is a phosphorus present, that will also be a P by 2 that you can do. But grossly, this is what you will be seeing, and you will be seeing certain examples over here for the dBe value. So let us look at now those examples, how we are going to find out these dBe values for the various molecular formulas that are given to us, and how this is going to help us predict what all possible structural isomers we can have for a compound. Alright, so first example, well, before that, yes, the dB value, this is going to give us the sum of the double bonds, the triple bonds, and or rings also present in any structure. All right. So this will tell us about the double bonds, the triple bonds, and the rings also. How, you will be just now understanding with the help of a few examples. So the first example I have is CH4. So first of all, let us find out the dBe value for methane. So we have one carbon, so C is here, so we have 1 minus 4 by 2 for the hydrogen, so hydrogens divided by 2 plus 1, this will be equal to 0. So this is going to be 0, and this means that there is going to be no pi bond or no ring present in this structure. All right, so just remember, when we have a zero value, this means that it is going to be all single bonds which will be present in the structures that you will be drawing, right? Next, let us see one more example. So we have DBE for C2H6, it is ethane. So when you're going to find out the value for it, ethane, 2 carbons, so 2 minus 6 hydrogens, so 6 by 2, so that will be 3. So 2 minus 3 is going to be minus 1 plus 1, this will be again 0. So again there are no pi bonds, no rings going to be present in this structure, only single bonds. Right, I hope this is clear to you. We've just not drawn the ethane structure also, and methane is also carbon and all single hydrogen bonds. Now, before I move to the next example, there is one more thing. When I talk about a halogen atom, this is going to be easy for you if we do it this way also. For example, if instead of a methane, I have a CH3Cl. One thing is that I will be putting it in the formula. So it is going to be 1 minus 3 by 2. Halogen atom is 1. So it is minus 1 by 2 plus 1. So this will be my DBE value. This will again come up to 0. The other thing what you can see over here is that this is minus 3 by 2 minus 1 by 2. So this is also minus 4 by 2. Right? And here it was 4 hydrogens, so we had put a minus 4 by 2. So what you can do is, rather than writing minus 3 by 2 minus 1 by 2, in the molecular formula itself, just see how many hydrogens they are present and how many halogen atoms they are present. Just total them up and you can do divided by 2 and subtract that number. Essentially this is going to come up to the same DBE value. Alright, so either you are doing it a minus H by 2 minus X by 2, or just add the number of hydrogens and the halogen atoms and then divide it by 2 and subtract the number. The DBE value, this will be remaining the same. So I hope this is one thing that is now clearly understood to you. So how you are going to do structures like this. Alright, now let us see the next example that we have. So the next example is that we have to find out the DBE value for C2H6O. Alright, so again let us put the value. The oxygen is not going to make any difference, so it is going to be again carbon and hydrogens that we will be seeing. So it is 2 minus 6 by 2 plus 1. The value again comes up to 0, and when it comes up to 0, this means that there is no pi bond present, there is no ring present. It is going to be all single bonds, right? So such a compound, this is going to be a saturated molecule and it will be containing only single bonds, no pi bonds, no rings. Perfectly clear? So what are the structural isomers possible for C2H6O? What I can see is, in this structure there is an oxygen which is present in the compound, and the oxygen present are in the functional groups. Well, it can be an alcohol, it can be an ether. Alright, it can be an aldehyde, it can be a ketone also, when there is a single oxygen atom present in the general molecular formula. So first of all, let us draw an alcohol. So alcohol, 2 carbon, this is going to be CCOH. I have not put down the hydrogens, but you will be finding out that this will be coming up to be 6 hydrogens in total. CH3, CH2OH. So this is ethanol. And an ether, if I can draw for this structure, it is going to be a carbon, a oxygen, a carbon. Again, it will be CH3O, CH3. So again, it will be C2H6O. You please do check the number of hydrogens also. I know that what I'm drawing, this is correct, but you have to be very sure that what all structures you draw, the hydrogens, they should also be exactly what are there in the molecular formula. Alright. Now, this is the two possible isomers. Now, why I have not drawn an aldehyde? Well, if I draw an aldehyde for the structure, it will be what? It will be a CH3 for 2 carbons and a CHO. Now, this CHO, this has a double bonded oxygen to the carbon. But what I've seen is, in the DBE, the value was coming up to be 0. That was not coming up to be 1. Had it been 1, yes, there would have been one double bond present. But now, because this is 0, I know exactly that there is no double bond in my structure. It has to be all single bonds. So I will not be thinking about an aldehyde, and a ketone is out of question, because the lowest ketone that you will be getting is a 3 carbon ketone, that is propanol. Fine. So now, is this helpful to me? Yes, this is helpful to me because I do not have to think more. I just know exactly what I have to draw. I do not have to think about any aldehyde or ketone where it will be present. I know that this is going to be all single bonds. So double bonds, they are out of question. Right? So this is how this DBE value, this is helpful to us. Let us look at one more structure, that is C4H10O. Again, this is something that we've drawn and discussed in the previous lecture as well. So I am trying to pick up only those things which we've already discussed, that what are the possible isomers for these structures, so that you can understand exactly what we drew, how we are going to draw them when it is going to come in the examination. All right, so let us see for H10O. Again, do the DBE value for this. You will be finding out that 4 carbons, right, minus 10 by 2 5, so 4 minus 5 is going to be minus 1, plus 1, this will be again 0. So again, this is a structure where there is going to be only single bonds present. So it can be either an alcohol or it can be an ether. And then we have already drawn, there are 4 alcohols possible and there are 3 ethers possible. This is something we've already discussed in detail. So for the 4 carbons, if we draw the straight chain, right, so this is position number 1 for OH group, and then position number 2 for the OH group. Then from 4 carbons we made a 3 carbon chain. The methyl group, this has to go only at position number 2. This is the only possibility. And then OH group at position number 1 or at position number 2. So N-butyl alcohol, sec-butyl alcohol, isobutyl alcohol, and tert-butyl alcohol. Again, this is something that we have discussed in detail. What are these two types of isomers? What are these two types of isomers? That remains the same. It is only that if I look at the structure, what I now know is that the DBE value is 0. So I do not have to think about any aldehydes or ketones for this compound. Okay, this is how this DBE is helping us. The rest of the concepts that are going to be the same what you have already learned in the previous lecture. So again, there are going to be 3 ethers possible on either side of oxygen, 2 carbons, one side 1 carbon, other side 3 carbons, and the propyl, you can also break it into an isopropyl structure. So you will be getting 3 ethers and 4 alcohols for C4H10O, but no aldehydes and ketones are possible because the DBE value is 0. So there are going to be no double bonds present. Perfectly fine. Alright, let us move further then. So next we are going to draw the structural isomers for C3H6. Now C3H6, let us first of all find out the DBE value. So 3 carbons, so 3, 6 hydrogen, 6 minus 2 plus 1. Right? So the number of carbons minus half the number of hydrogens plus 1, you will be getting the DBE value to be 1. Now what does this 1 mean? What this 1 means is that in this molecular formula, what you can expect is that there can be one double bond present, or there can be one ring present, or you can say there is going to be one pi bond present. All right, one double bond is equal to one pi bond, and one ring, this is a substitute for one pi bond. Now, how do we understand this? First of all, propene, I think this is very easy for you to understand. CH3, CH, CH2. One double bond present. If you count the number of carbons, it is going to be 3 carbons. If you count the number of hydrogen, this is 6 hydrogens, right? So C3H6, this is one isomer, and you can see also that there is one double bond present, and the DBE value also tells us that this is one double bond present. Now, why is this one double bond equal to one ring? This is one thing that you should understand very well. All right. Now, if I have a propane, all right, I have a propane, carbon number 1, this has 3 hydrogens, carbon number 2, this has 2 hydrogens, and carbon number 3, this will be again having 3 hydrogens. When I draw a double bond, what do? I remove a hydrogen from this position, any of the 3 hydrogens from carbon number 1 or any of the 2 hydrogens from carbon number 2. I will be removing 2 hydrogens and I will be substituting that by a bond. Alright. So minus 2 hydrogens and plus 1 bond. This is what we are doing when we are making a propene from a propane. Alright, now what we have done here is we have removed the hydrogens from position number 1 and position number 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this structure a slight differently. I've just bent my structure from a straight chain structure to this structure. Alright. Now again this carbon will be having 2 hydrogens. This carbon will be having 3 hydrogens. Right. But this is my carbon number 1 and this is my carbon number 3. Rather than if I am removing my hydrogens from position number 1 and position number 2, if I remove my hydrogen from position number 1 and position number 3, all right, I am again removing 2 hydrogens, and instead of this I am putting one bond between the 2 carbons. In here I had removed 2 hydrogens from carbon number 1 and carbon number 2 and put up a double bond, right? One more bond. And here I am removing the 2 hydrogens from position number 1 and 3, and again I am adding one bond. So this means my double bond, this is just equivalent to one ring. Wherever I can draw a double bond, this is how I can draw a ring instead of it also. The number of carbons and the number of hydrogens, they will be remaining the same. So my ring, this can be a substitute of a double bond. I hope now this is clear. So wherever the DBE value, this is coming as 1, this means that I can draw a double bond, and if possible I can also draw a ring also. Now why I'm saying if possible is because we had drawn ethene also, right? So this was also a double bond. But now I cannot draw a ring for this because for drawing a ring at least I need 3 carbons. So wherever possible I can draw a ring for a double bond. Okay, I hope this is clear. So how do we draw the ring? Well, we can put the 3 carbons, we have joined them by a bond, and we have C2, CH2, CH2. This is cyclopropane. So these are the structural isomers for C3H6. What are these two isomers called? They are called as ring chain isomers. This is what you have already done. So I will not be focusing more on that. That is what you have already learned in the previous lectures. So next let us do the structural isomers for C3H4. Again I will be doing the DBE value for it, and what I find out is the value comes up to be 2. Now what does 2 value mean? Well, what 2 value means is that there can be 2 double bond present. If one value meant 1 double bond, so 2 means there can be 2 double bond present. When there is 2 double bond present, I can draw one ring and one double bond for it also, or I can draw 2 rings also for it, because one double bond is equal to one ring. Alright, or what I can do is I can draw a triple bond also, because one double bond is 1 pi bond and one triple bond is 2 pi bond. So this is also 2 pi bond, a triple bond is also 2 pi bonds. Perfectly fine. So these are my possibilities. So let us see what all structures can we draw for C3H4. So firstly, we can draw a triple bond. So this is 2 pi bonds, right? So 2 value corresponding to 1 triple bond. So this is propyne. Next, what we can do, draw 2 double bonds. So carbon number 1, carbon number 2, we have 2 double bonds. So this is prop 1,2 diene. Next, what we can do, we can draw one ring and one double bond. So this is cyclopropene, where we have one ring and one double bond. Can we draw 2 rings for these structures? Well, 2 rings, they are not going to be possible. We can just draw one ring. So this will not be a possibility for this structure. But when there will be more number of carbons, yes, you can draw 2 rings also. Okay. So you will be seeing that in some coming up examples also, where 2 rings are possible. So this is how I can think of all the possible structures just with this one value. Okay, and I will not be missing out any structure because I know exactly what I have to do. If there is a value of 2, I can draw a triple bond, I can draw 2 double bonds, I can draw one ring and one double bond, I can draw 2 rings. I just have to think on those lines and see what are the possible structures. Next, let us see the structural isomers now of C4H6. Again, this is what we have already drawn in the previous lecture, but I'm going to draw them again so that you can just compare it now to the DBE value, how we drew those structures exactly. So the DBE value, this is coming up again as 2. So this would be again meaning that there are going to be a possibility of one triple bond, 2 double bonds, one ring, one double bond, or 2 rings. So let us draw them now. So first structure, one triple bond. So this is but 1 ion at triple bond at position number 1. We can put it at position number 2. So this is going to be but 2 ion, right? Next we can draw two double bonds. So let us put it at position number 1 and position number 2. This is possibility. The other possibility is that I can put it at position number 1 and position number 2. So 3. So I can draw this structure as well. The rest of the structures you have to draw according to what you have learned. But this is just giving me an idea that exactly what can be present. I have to think on these lines. So triple bond done, two double bonds done. Let us now do two rings. All right. So these are the two rings possible. This is a bicyclo compound. Fine. Now, when there are going to be more number of carbon atoms, for example, if I have 5 carbons, I can also draw a spiro compound also, right? For example, if I have a 5 carbon structure, the two rings, this can be a spiroalkane also. Okay, this is a bicyclo compound. A spirocyclo compound will be possible if I have 5 carbons. Again, this will be two rings, right? So this is how you have to think. If it is two rings, well, it can be bicyclo, it can be a spiro. It has to depend upon how many number of carbons they are going to be present, but you can think on those lines now. The next we are going to have, well, a double bond and a ring. So 4 carbons in a ring and one double bond. This is one possible structure. And then what I can do is decrease the number of carbons in the ring. So 3 carbon ring with a double bond, one methyl group going out. Vary the position of the methyl group, vary the position of the double bond. So these are the structures which are possible for C4H6. Again, all these structures you've drawn previously. You know exactly what type of isomerism is going to be present. So these two, there is a triple bond, only change in position. So this is position isomers. Here we have a triple bond, here we have a double bond. So this is going to be functional isomers. Here this is a triple bond, here this is a ring compound. So these are going to be ring chain isomers. So on. This is what you have learned previously. All right. So this is, I hope, now very helpful to you. Let us see some more examples. I'm not just finishing up. I'm going to be making you perfect with these examples, how you're going to draw the various isomers. So next let us draw the structural isomers for C3H6O, and this is one structure that we did not discuss in the previous lecture. So you can pause and you can draw the possible structures while calculating the DBE value now, and then let us see, can you match with the structures that I'm going to draw? Well, if you've done it, let us see how we are going to do it. All right. So the DBE value, this is going to come up to 1. How we are going to do it? This is 3 carbons. So 3 minus 6 by 2 plus 1. The value is coming up as 1. Okay. So this means that there is going to be one ring or one double bond which can be present. Now when I have one oxygen, what we have been previously discussing is, if that was a 0, the DBE value, it is going to be an alcohol and an ether. It cannot be an aldehyde or a ketone. But now the value has come up to 1. So the first thing that strikes into my mind, I hope it will strike into yours also, that it is going to be one possibility that it is an aldehyde. So let us draw that. All right. So the aldehyde with 3 carbons, this is going to be propionaldehyde. All right. Or propanol. This is the common name for the compound. So this is CCCHO. Perfectly fine. This is done. Now there is a double bond. So this shows that this, my DBE value is this. Now can I draw a ketone for this? Yes, this is a 3 carbon. So I can draw a ketone also for this. So my ketone, this is acetone. This is how we draw that. At carbon number 2, we will be drawing the C double bond O. Again, the DBE value is 2. Alright, so are these two the only possible now structural isomers? I cannot draw any other aldehyde for this structure because this is 3 ring. Either I can put the CHO group at position this end, or at this end the structure is going to be remaining the same. And similarly for acetone, it is only 3 carbons, so I can just put it at the middle carbon. I cannot put the double bond at the terminal position. So these are the two possible structures. Can we draw any more structures? Think about it, right? So we have one oxygen, and one oxygen was present when we had a OH, that was an alcohol, and when we had an ether. Can we draw any structures for alcohols and ethers? What we require is a double bond, right? Okay, if we require a double bond, I cannot put a OH attached to a carbon by a double bond for the alcohol, but can't I put a double bond between two carbons and draw a structure? Yes, I can. So why not do that? All right. So I have three carbons. Carbon number one, I have put a OH, and then this carbon is bound to the other carbon by a double bond. Again, the DBE value is 1. The structural is now the structure is different, but the molecular formula this remains the same. This will be C3H6O if you will be counting out the total number of hydrogens for the structure, right? And this is going to be what type of isomerism? Well, this is going to be functional isomerism, but this is a very special type of functional isomerism which we call as tautomerism, which you're going to learn in the next lecture. I'm not going to talk more about this at the present moment, but this is what we have as a tautomer of propanol. All right. Now, similarly, what we can do is that if it is at position number 1, the double bond, I can put it at position number 2. So this is one more structure which is possible. So C double bond CCOH. This is going to be prop 2 in 1 on. All right. Now, as we have drawn for the aldehyde, we can do it with the similarly to the acetone also. Can't we do that? Yes, we can do that. We will be putting a OH instead of this double bonded oxygen, and the double bond we will be shifting it between the carbons, right? So this can be a carbon 1 and 2 position a double bond. If you will be putting at the other side, this will also remain the same structure. And these two structures, they are going to be again tautomers. All right, what is tautomerism? This is what you have to learn in the next lecture. But as far as the molecular formula is concerned, these both, they have the same molecular formula, but the structures, they are different. These two are functional isomers of a special type, which we call as tautomerism. All right. Now, let us see if any more structure is possible. How can we think of some more structure? Just think. If an alcohol is possible, obviously an ether is also possible. So let us draw an ether. So here what we can do is that we have an oxygen. We have on one side two carbons and the other side one carbon. So this is the only possibility. So between the two carbons, I can draw a double bond, right? So this is one or next structure which is possible for this molecular formula C3H6O. Now can we draw some more structure? Well, I am seeing that in my DBE I can also draw one ring. If I can't draw a double bond, well, why not think about a ring as well? So let us draw one ring structure. What I have done in this ring structure is with the three carbons, I have put the oxygen as a part of the ring. So this is a cyclic ether now. Okay, this is a cyclic ether, and the name of this compound, this is called as oxetane. Then if I can draw a four member ring, I can draw a three member ring also. Again, the oxygen, this is a part of the ring. This is methyl oxidane with one CH3 growing out of it. All right, so this is also a cyclic ether. Now if I can draw a cyclic ether, why can't I draw a cyclic alcohol? Yes, I can do that. So what I will be doing is I will be drawing this as a cyclic now alcohol also. So this is the next structure possible. So if you think, just looking at the value of DBE, what is possible? Well, one by one, you will be reaching up to every structure which is possible for this molecular formula. All right, I hope now this is clear. That value of 1 DBE, looking at the number of atoms which are present, there was one oxygen atom, one double bond. The first thing I thought was an aldehyde. Then I thought, why not make a ketone of it? Then if I can make aldehyde a ketone, there is one oxygen, so there are also compounds where there can be one oxygen in alcohol and ether, but there the OH and the oxygen of the ether, they are forming only single bonds. So I can draw double bonds between the two carbons. Why can't I do that? So I have drawn an an alcohol where there was a double bond between the two carbons. Now if it is at position number 1 and 2, I can draw it at position number 2 and 3. So these were again the next isomers, and similarly to acetone, instead of the double bonded O I put a OH and the double bond and took it between the two carbons. So again, next structure possible, right? So now the next, if I can draw an alcohol, I can draw a double bonded ether also. So we drew a next structure. Again, now one double bond, so it is a ring also possible. So we drew a cyclic ether. We drew the next cyclic ether, reducing the number of carbons in the chain. And then we drew a cyclic alcohol also, because if a ether is possible, an alcohol is also possible. Okay, perfectly logical thinking, step by step, drawing up all the isomers. So now let us make the structural isomers of C6H6. All right. So what is the thing that comes first into your mind looking at C6H6? Yes, this is the molecular formula for benzene. Right? Even if I do not find out the DBE value, this is something that I already know from my little bit knowledge of organic which we have gained so far from this course, right? So this is the structure of benzene. Now looking at the structure of benzene, can you tell me what is going to be the DBE value for this? Yes, it is going to be 4. Why 4? There is one ring and 3 triple bonds, so 3 plus 1, this is going to be 4. Can we check out this value? Yes, we can. So 6 for the carbons minus 6 by 2 for the hydrogens plus 1, the value is going to come up as 4, as we can see in the structure of benzene. So this is one possibility I have for C6H6. Are there any four possibilities for structural isomers of benzene? Let us look. If it is going to be 4 as the DBE value, what I can think is that this can be a straight chain compound with 4 pi bonds. What is going to be 4 pi bonds? Well, the first thing that comes into my mind is that they can be 2 triple bonds, because one triple bond is going to mean there are 2 pi bonds. So 2 plus 2, 4. So let us draw a structure where we have 3 pi bonds. 2 pi bonds. Two triple bonds, sorry. All right. So we have, it is just like a tongue twister, right? So we draw a 6 carbon chain. Position number 1, I put a triple bond. At position number 3, I put a triple bond. If you count the number of carbons and hydrogen, this comes up as C6H6. So this is one structural isomer I can draw for benzene. Another, I can vary the position of the double bond, a triple bond. I have put it at position number 1. I put it at position number 4. I can put it at position number 1. I can put it at position number 5. I can vary. I can put this at position number 2. So there are going to be many possibilities. I'm not drawing all the structures. I'm just trying to explain you what are the possibilities. Now you are well versed with the various types of isomerism. So you should be able to draw all the possible structures. Alright. Now, if we can draw two triple bonds, this means that I can draw a triple bond and two double bonds also, right? So let us do that. So we are going to draw a triple bond and two double bonds in the structure. I can vary the position of the triple bond and the double bonds. Again, I can draw. Next, you can think about if it is 4, it can be 4 double bonds. Just look at if you can draw structure where there are 4 double bonds present in the compound, whether you can draw it, you cannot draw it, whether you can do the branchings of these. So every possibility is now open for you. Just draw all the possible structures you can. The molecular formula, this should come as C6H6. The dB value, this should remain 4 for all the possible isomers. Now if I can draw straight chain structures, I can draw more cyclic structures like we have for benzene. So let us look at one more example. I'm just giving that to you. So instead of the 6 carbon ring, now I've drawn a 5 carbon ring. 5 carbon ring, but this is a ring. So this is 1 DBE gone. And again, I have to draw 3 triple bonds. The way I have done this is I have drawn 2 double bonds in the ring and one this is out. Alright, so this is also one isomer for C6H6. So that would be now your homework. Try making what all possible isomers you can make for C6H6. Now coming up to the last example for today, we have to draw the structural isomers for C4H8O2, and this is going to be a real good summation for everything that we have learned, because you're going to see so many possibilities in this structure. Alright. So we have the DBE value first of all when you're going to do that. So it is 4 carbons, 4 minus 8 hydrogens, 8 by 2 oxygen you are not going to count, so that is forgotten, and then it is plus 1, the value of DBE, this comes up to 1. So this means that there can be one double bond present in the structure or there can be one ring present in the structure. Now what are we going to draw? Well, first of all, you have to look at the molecular formula once again, and you can see that there are 2 oxygens present. Do you know of any functional group where there are 2 oxygens present? Yes, I know of it. functional group, and that is going to be an acid, right? COOH. And in the COOH, there is also a carbon bonded to oxygen by a double bond. So my DBE value also, this will come up to be correct. So let us do that. We have a 4 carbon acid first of all. So that is going to be butanoic acid. So you can see a double bond present and we have a DBE value of 1. So this is going to be perfect. Okay. Now, can we draw any other isomer for this acid, which is going to be an acid, same functional group? Well, we can alter the length of the carbon chain. From a 4 carbon, we can make it a 3 carbon chain. So you will be getting 2-methyl propanoic acid. So these two, they are going to be what type of isomers? Well, they are going to be chain isomers because the length of the carbon chain, that is going to be different. The functional group, that was the same. So this is something that we've already discussed. So I will not be focusing a lot on that. So you can try writing out what type of isomer, structural isomer you are going to get when we are going to draw all the various structures. Alright. The next possibility, when we have an acid, we can have an ester also by the same molecular formula. Right. So let us draw now the esters, and you can pause, and actually I'm just telling you that you will be able to make 4 esters. Try making those 4 esters and then look at what we have drawn. Now if you've done that, let us see how we are going to proceed. My way of drawing these 4 esters is that I have 4 carbons. I will be starting with the derivative of a 1 carbon acid. 1 carbon acid is going to be HCOOH, right? That is methanoic acid. So a derivative of methanoic acid, where we are going to complete the number of carbons to 4. So what I can do is that I have methanoic acid, I have removed the hydrogen and put 3 carbons for this to make the carbon count to be 4. This is how you're going to draw various esters for any particular molecular formula that is given to you. We've not seen that in the previous examples, so I'm discussing this over here with you people. All right. So this, we have propyl methanoate. Any more possibility? Well, what we can do is we can alter the length of this propyl group, so we can make it a isopropyl group. All right. So what you will be giving the name of the compound is going to be this a 1-methyl for the ethyl group of the methanoic acid. So this is 1-methyl ethyl methanoate. So this is how you name the ester. All right. The next possibility, we can make a 2 carbon acid now. So that is going to be ethanoic acid. So when we are going to have ethanoic acid, the 2 carbons left will be forming the ethyl group. So this becomes ethyl ethanoate. Any more possibility? There is no more possibility for this structure. So the next we will be moving on to a 3 carbon acid now. So a 3 carbon acid, this is going to be propanoic acid, and 1 carbon that is left, that will be going as a methyl group. So this becomes methyl propanoate. All right. And again, you cannot vary if you're going to put it at this position. Again, this will be again the longest continuous chain of 3 carbons. So this is what you will be having as the 4 esters possible for the molecular formula C4H8O2. Propyl methanoate, 1-methyl ethyl methanoate, ethyl ethanoate, and methyl propanoate. Now this is what is commonly asked, that you have to draw the possible acids and esters for the molecular formula C4H8O2. And in this, the DBE value in all of these, you can see that this is coming up as 1. We have 1 double bond in all the structures. Perfectly fine. Now, are there any more structural isomers possible? That is one thing that is going to be more interesting now. Right? Are there any more possibilities that we have 1 double bond? We have not utilized a ring also. Let us see what we more can draw. And in fact, you are going to see that we can draw many structures for this molecular formula. So most structural isomers for C4H8O2, the DBE value, this must remain as 1. So my next possibility is that I can draw a aldehyde or a ketone so that my DBE value remains at 1. But when I draw an aldehyde or a ketone, the number of oxygen that reduces, right? In the carboxylic acid and the ester, there are 2 oxygens. My molecular formula suggests there have to be 2 oxygens. If I draw an aldehyde or a ketone, it is going to be DBE value fine, but oxygen, that is going to reduce. So my next thought is that for making up my one oxygen, I can put up a OH group in my structure, right? So the compound, this will become hydroxyaldehyde or hydroxyketone. Let us see an example where we have a structure. So we have a 4 carbon aldehyde, so this is going to be butanol. I put a OH group at position number 2, so this becomes 2 hydroxybutanol. It can be a 3 hydroxybutanol, it can be a 4 hydroxybutanol. So you can vary the number of carbons, you can vary the position of the functional groups, you can do whatever you want to. You have learned everything about isomerism now, so you have to see what all possibilities you can make which are going to give us the same molecular formula. I'm not going to draw all the structures. In fact, we are going to see so many structures that are going to be possible for this molecular formula. And you will have a homework today, and the homework is that what all possibilities they are. I'm giving you the example that this is possibility, right? Like just I've told you that there are 2 hydroxybutanol, a 3 hydroxybutanol, a 4 hydroxybutanol. I have not drawn that 4 hydroxy, so you do that yourself. So make a complete list of all the possible structures that you can draw. uh, Put that on a piece of paper, take a screenshot of that and send me at the email ID of ours. Then we will be telling you that have you been able to draw all the possible structures or not. So that is going to be one interesting exercise. You will not be able to put that all in the comment section. All right, so do that. Now this is hydroxyaldehyde or ketone. Now we can draw, instead of a aldehyde we can draw a ketone. We just have to put the carbonyl group at position number 2, right? So position number 2, when we do that, it is going to be butane 2 on. It is going to be position number 2 from either end because these are 4 carbons, right? And then you can vary the position of the OH group again. So this is 1 hydroxybutane 2 on that I have drawn. Another structure that I have drawn is a 3 hydroxy 2 butanol or butane 2 on, one and the same thing that will be. Alright, so these are a few of the examples for hydroxyaldehydes or ketones. Now can we do something more about it? Here we have a carbon bonded to oxygen by a double bond. If I do that, I have a double bond between the 2 carbons. That is also one possibility. So what I can do is that I have a double bond for an alkane, so the dBE value will be taken care of, and then I have to have 2 oxygens, and I'm not putting up an acid, I'm not putting up an ester, I'm not putting up an aldehyde, I'm not putting up a ketone, I'm putting up an alcohol. So I will be requiring 2 OH groups so that I have 2 oxygens, right? So let us see one example. So we have 4 carbons where we have put a double bond and which we have put as 2 OH groups. So this structure, this is but 2-ene-1,4 diol. There are more possibilities possible. You have to draw them, right? Next, what we can do is, instead of one OH group, well, there is more functional group where we have an oxygen, which is similar to the OH group. What was that? It was an ether. So instead of one OH group, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up an ether. So an alcohol, an ether and an alkane into one structure. What I have drawn is there are 2 carbons, then an ether oxygen, and then there is 2 carbons, and now because I wanted a double bond, I have put a double bond over here, right? Now what is going to be the name of this compound? Well, this is a functional group is the OH group, and the ether, this always is a substituent, so that is going to go as a prefix, right? So we have a 2 carbon alcohol, so that is going to be ethanol, and then we have a alkoxy group, right? So what is this alkoxy group? You can see that this is a carbon bonded to carbon by a double bond, so this is a vinyl group which we have an oxygen to it, so this is vinyloxy. So this is 2 vinyloxy because this is carbon number 1, carbon number 2. Carbon number 2, we have the ether attached as a substituent, right? So this is 2 vinyloxy ethanol.
interesting name of the compound also. So you're learning the nomenclature along also. All right. So now this was one possibility where we had an alcohol, an ether, and an alkene. So obviously, instead of this, I can have two ethers also. Yes, that is also one possibility. So ether and alkene to keep up the double bond, and the two ethers to keep up the two oxygens. So this is how I can draw this as well, right? So the name of this compound, this is going to be 1,2-dimethoxyethylene. So my base compound is going to be the carbon bonded to carbon by a double bond. So this is ethylene, and we have two methoxy groups attached to the ethylene, right? So this is going to be 1,2-dimethyl, 1,2-dimethoxyethylene. Okay, so this is as far as the name of this compound is concerned, and you have seen so many structures. Do you want some more? Let us see some more then. All right. So again, this is the structural form isomers for C4H8O2, and the dB value, this will be 1. I'm just put up all the structure that are possible. Now we had an ether, I hope you remember. So now an ether, and instead of the alkene, I have put up a ketone. Alright, so the name of this compound, as you can see over here, this is methoxypropanone. You can try making up more structures as well. Next one possibility is that I draw a hydroperoxide. I have put the two oxygens together by a single bond. Whenever there are two oxygens bond to each other by a single bond, we call that as a peroxide. Alright. So this compound, as you can see the structure over here, this is 1-methyl 2-propylene hydroperoxide. Okay, this structure. So this is also one possibility. I have given you all the possibilities. Probably the names you will not be even seeing in your nomenclature also, but this is one of the possibilities again. Now instead of one double bond, I can put up a ring also. So a ring, I am putting up a 4-carbon ring with a OOH group. So this is going to be cyclobutyl hydroperoxide. Similarly, you had drawn two OH groups with an alkene. I can draw a ring with two OH groups. So this is cyclobutane 1,2-ol. You can vary the position of the OH groups. You can decrease the number of carbons in the ring. So again, these are going to be many possibilities that we can have, right? Next, I can have a cyclic ether. Along with that, I can have a OH group. So this is going to again put up my two oxygens. So this structure, when we have a pentagon with the cyclic ether, the oxygen of the ether in this is called as tetrahydrofuran, and there's a OH group at position number 2. So this is called as 2-hydroxy tetrahydrofuran. Do not worry if you do not know the name of these compounds at this moment, because you're just at the start of learning of organic chemistry. The only motive of mine to show you these possible structures is just to think in what way all possible isomers they can be made from a particular molecular formula. But just knowing the dBE value, that you have to have one double bond, you have to have one ring. So what all possibilities, you can just vary the carbons, the oxygens, the hydrogens accordingly to make the various functional groups, right? So now we had a cyclic alcohol with two OH groups. Then we have moved on to one alcohol group by replacing an ether and a OH retaining. And the next obviously possibility, what you can see over here, is that the OH group also I'm replacing it by a ether. So both of these two, they have gone into the ring. So this is one possibility, and again I can put them at 1 and 2 position. So this is a 1,2-dioxane. This is the name of the compound, and this is also called as orthodioxane because this is 1,2 position. Then I can make it a 1,3 position, I can make it a 1,4 position, I can decrease the length of the chain. So I can again have many possible structures. All right, so I am giving you essentially over here what all various functional groups you can get for the various structures that you can have for the same molecular formula. So with this, I just end this lecture actually, but here I am going to give you two charts which is going to help you draw various possible structures. Looking at this chart, this is going to be helpful when you're going to draw any structure for various molecular formulas. So the dB value of this is 1. The number of pi bond this means is going to be 1. The possible combination for the configurations is going to be 1 cyclic or 1 pi bond. If the dB value is 2, this means that there are 2 pi bonds. So you can draw one triple bond which is 2 pi bonds, or you can draw two double bonds which is going to be 2 pi bonds. It can be two cyclic rings, right? Instead of two double bonds, that is 2 pi bonds they are going to be consumed over here. Or what you can do is one ring and one double bond you can draw. So these are various possibilities. You have seen the examples already. If it is going to be dB value of 3, that means that there are going to be 3 pi bonds. So this can be one triple bond which will be consuming 2 pi bonds, and one double bond, that is 1 pi bond. So this becomes 3 pi bonds, right? If we can draw one triple bond and one cycle, right? We can draw one cycle, we can draw two double bonds, we can draw three cyclic rings. So these are again the various possibilities that you can have. If the dB value is 4, you have already seen when the dB value is 4, the first thing that is going to come into our mind is that there is one benzene ring that is present, and this is going to be the most prevalent thing that you will be seeing in various organic compounds. Alright, so I'm not going to talk about the rest of the possibilities now. I'm just moving on to one benzene ring because this is what you will be seeing for the structures where we will be having the dB value of 4. So this is going to be one benzene ring. One pi bond is consumed in the formation of the ring, and the other thing in the formation of the three double bonds, right? Next, if the dB value, this comes at 4, so just break it as 4 plus 1. There is going to be one benzene ring and there is one double bond that is going to be possible. Alright. Next, if the dB value, this comes up as 6, so break it as 4 plus 2. This is one benzene ring plus two double bonds. It is 7. It is 4 plus 3, one benzene ring plus three double bonds. If it is going to be 8, just break it up as 4 plus 4. It can be two benzene rings. So this is going to be helpful to you in thinking about the possible configurations for the structure. Alright. Now the next table that we have drawn for you people, well, this is giving us some general formulas and the functional isomers that are going to be possible. As you have seen that there was a very big list for C4H8O2. So I'm just giving you that list so that this helps you for any general formula that is going to be coming up for your examination, right? So if we have CnH2n, this is going to be an alkene. Alkene has one double bond, so that means a dB value of 1. So the other thing that you can store instead of a double bond is a ring, so that can be a cycloalkane. Next we have CnH2n minus 2. So generally what you think of it is an alkyne. Alkyne means a triple bond. A triple bond equivalent to two double bonds, so it can be a alkadiene, two double bonds, right? Then it can be also a ring with a double bond. It can be a cycloalkene. It can be two rings. It can be a bicycloalkane or a spiroalkane. So this is again the examples that you've already seen. The next we have is CnH2n plus 2O. So here the possibility is of an alcohol or an ether. If it is a CnH2nO, then you can draw an aldehyde, you can draw a ketone, you can draw a cyclic alcohol, you can draw a cyclic ether, you can draw a unsaturated alcohol, an alcohol where there is a double bond present between the two carbons, an unsaturated ether. Again, the double bond is present between the two carbons and it is going to be an ether. The next we have CnH2nO2, as you have already seen for C4H8O2, right? So an acid possible, an ester possible, a hydroxyaldehyde possible, a hydroxy ketone possible, a cyclic diol present, a cyclic ether, and so on. I have not written the complete list because there were so many structures. These are the common ones that we will be making for this. Alright, so I hope now the whole concept, this is perfect. No doubts at all, right? In case there are still, please feel free, put that in the comment section. And you have a homework already, and that is going to be what? You have to put up all the structural isomers for C4H8O2 on my email ID. Alright, I'm waiting for it. Now before we conclude, there is one small little thing which can come as a query also from you people, that In case while you are writing the structures using this DBE concept, you get a structure where the carbon valency is not satisfied, or you are getting a fractional number, right? It is not a 1, it is not a 2, it is coming up as 2.5, it is coming as 3.5. Then what you are going to do for it, right? So the formula, this generally represents an intermediate species that you will be studying when we are going to start with the discussion on the reagents and mechanisms for the various organic reactions. So you will be seeing certain structures like carbocation, carbanion, or carbon free radicals. Here the carbon valency is not satisfied, so the DB structure, this is going to be fractional. So how are you going to proceed with that is that you will be just like, for example, you have C7H7, this represents a benzyl anion. The carbon valency will not be finished, and the DB value, if you find out for this, it is going to be what? Let us see that. Okay, so it is going to be 7 minus 7 by 2, that is going to be 3.5. So 3.5 plus 1, so the value comes up as 4.5. So how are we going to do with that? Just make it into a whole number and make it into 5, and then think what are going to be the possible structures for that formula that is given to you people. All right, so this is as far as the fractional numbers they are concerned, if that is going to come up as the DBE value.
So that would be all for this lecture. I hope this lecture has been really helpful for you, and when you're going to do your various problems related to structural isomerism, each and every one, this is going to be very clear to you people because of this double bond equivalent concept. Right. So now the next lecture we will be winding up with the discussion on the structural isomerism. We will be learning about the last type of isomerism, that is going to be tautomerism. So this is the last type of structural isomerism, and then we will be starting with stereoisomerism. So please be with me. I hope you are enjoying the lectures, and please do subscribe to the channel if you have not done till now, and click on the bell icon so that you get a notification the moment we put up the next lecture for you. All your queries, they are most welcome. Put them in the comment section, mail them to us, but do not keep them to yourself. You have to get them cleared so that your concepts, they are strong and you can do your very well in your examination. So see you again. Have a nice day. God bless you people.